Hello there, how are you? Welcome back to How I Did It. Today's project is going to be working on the metal framing in the loft. Now before we can get up there and do that, after trying to hang off the edges and whatnot a couple of days ago, I decided it was time for me to go buy the second set of scaffolding from Harbor Freight. No, I'm not sponsored by them, just cheap products that do the job well. They haven't failed me or let me down. Now, I'm showing me putting it together just to show that this is something that you can do by yourself. It calls for a two-person to set it up, but I did it by myself without an issue. Had to think it through a little bit. Yeah, as you saw me get down off of it and get a ladder. Now, once that top part of the scaffolding's there, that'll give me a good working platform, but I didn't feel comfortable climbing up the side. It just seemed like it would tip over. It just didn't seem stable enough for me to be climbing up and down off the edges. So I just used my ladder to access it from the side, and then I used the top of it for the work platform, and it worked out fantastic. With it being on sale and me having a 20% coupon, it was just too good to pass up, and it was perfect timing. Alright, so now we're going to pick up here on the framing. I had to finish putting like the header plate in as it would be if it were a piece of wood. Once I got it all set up and marked out, go ahead and I'll bring this over here to show you. When you're cutting these rafters, you have to make relief cuts in it to get them to bend for you nicely, and this is just what I'm showing you. By cutting that, it allows it to bend in. That way, once I put it up there and finish up that header or that sill plate or whatever we're going to call it, it just conforms to it nicely, and then just sheet metal screws holding everything together. Again, those little clamps I use to hold things in place. Alright, going ahead and we're setting the studs. The studs set up here are 16 on center, just like conventional framing, and then here I'm just putting in the opening for my 36 by 36 inch sideways slide window. Put them up special order, put it in at Lowe's. It was kind of nice because you got 6 months same as cash, so instead of me putting my cash out of my pocket, I keep my cash in my bank account, make them the payment. Taking a lot of extra time to make sure this is perfectly lined up. That way once I come up here to set whatever siding I decide I'm going to put on here, everything will be nice and in order. The company that I used for the spray foam, I had to have them out 4 times. The first time they put it on, it was supposed to be 2 inches worth of foam. The R factor was supposed to be 6 point something, almost 7, so R factor of 14 above. But when I went around and followed up after they had left, some areas were 3/4 of an inch, some areas were 3/8 of an inch, some areas were 3 inches. And like I said, it took 4 trips for them to get this right. So now I have a lot of trimming that I have to do where they oversprayed tons of areas, and then other areas are exactly what it needs. Alright, this is the vapor barrier. I decided I wanted a solid piece all the way across the top of that, so I would get a true continuous block. So here I'm just measuring it out, and yes, I'm going to attempt to hang this up there by myself. Now you might be asking, how in the world? Yep, you guessed it. Indoor-outdoor double-sided carpet tape. Gonna go ahead and put that on all of my stud surfaces, and then peel that little backing off of it. Now here, I have it in fast speed, but when you do this, you want to make sure you have gloves on. You know, these metal studs, they have some pretty sharp edges. Alright, there we go. Alright, so all of my studs, everything got covered with this double-sided carpet tape. It's nice, it's thin, it sticks. Once you get it stuck, it will stay. I built a lower framed wall downstairs, and that wall, the vapor barrier, again, all in one piece, and it is still sticking up there. Probably, I'd say it's probably been up there about 2 months now. So here I'm just finishing up with this double stick tape. And of course you see my pup right there. That's what prompted me to move from downstairs and my water system to framing the loft, because she figured out how to come up those stairs and I could just see her going off the edge. Alright, so all the double stick tape's on. Now when you're moving these cart, if you pull the cart towards you as you release the wheel lock, it releases so much easier. There I'm just setting the lock on, but just thought I would give you that little tip. Alright, let's wrap this thing. Again, make sure you have your gloves on just to protect your hands, because there are some pretty sharp edges up there. So the plan was get about halfway and then just start it and work it down one side and then come back and work it over the other half. And actually the plan came together and it worked pretty good. Once you press this down, it will hold. It holds fantastically. Until you actually make that hard contact and press down on it, it's a little bit forgiving. You can actually peel it back, but if you press it or mash it into place, it's pretty much stuck. It's not coming off. This is just giving you a different viewpoint, and I know I could have edited this out. I just thought it would be a pretty cool shot. Plus, I was pretty tickled that it came together as well as it did. I was expecting it to put me in a headlock. You know how you just plan something, it's going to take you so long, you know, and you just think you have everything worked out in your mind and it doesn't go that way? Well, this absolutely went great. I was so tickled. And here I'm just trimming off the edges. This fan I put in the center, it's a 12-volt RV fan. Most of the off-grid barn is 12 volt. I even converted my 110 lamp stands to 12 volts. And there's a view of it from the ground. And then the upper view. Alrighty then. That's it. Thanks for stopping by. How I did it. Have a blessed day.